So you go ahead and do number 2.
Number 2 was the epidemic of sea lion deaths along the California coastline. But I also want to mention that they had an unusual event as far down as San Diego this year, where seal pups were being abandoned in much greater numbers than what the rescues were used to seeing. And they still don't have an explanation about why these seal pups were abandoned. They were all underweight, and some of them have been rehabilitated and put back into nature. But these events are really escalating. They're moving right up the coast.
Could it be that from the evolutionary point of view, the seal population, the mothers recognize when they have offspring that aren't likely to be capable of sustaining their way, and therefore they abandon them early to not invest more maternal resources in their upbringing when their prospects are so slender?
Yeah, that's a definite possibility.
The other thing that happens is that when a population is put under stress, and the young are affected the most by toxins and so forth, and it weakens them and they can't keep up with the mothers, or they get lost or left behind. The mothers just can't take care of them or find them when they come back to where they thought they were. So 45% of the pups born in June have died in Southern California along the coast. That's a very high death rate. It's the same as the infant mortality. And when you see phenomena occurring in humans and in animal populations, it has to be an environmental cause.
Yeah, it's all profoundly disturbing.
Continue. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, so did you have anything else to say, Christina?
No, I did try to track someone down at NOAA to comment on the seal mortality and what was found in terms of the testing for radioactive materials, because Any News had reported over a year ago that they did find radiation in the seals, but that it wasn't above what they expected it to be for normal background. However, they never indicated if it was cesium or strontium or what they tested for and what the levels were. And when I tried to call NOAA to pin somebody down with this, I got such a runaround. In fact, some of it I did on air on my show, and we kept getting sent to David Kelly, and then I would call David Kelly and say, oh, you want the David Kelly in Hawaii? And then I would call him, and they would send me to someone else. And what I found out was that they actually carved up these seals and sent them to 20 different labs for testing. You know, they sent the whiskers to one lab, and they sent the teeth to another lab, and they sent the skin from the dorsal area to another lab. And so, I mean, they're kind of doing, it's like the Manhattan Project, but in reverse.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Where they divide up all the information, knowing these people probably won't talk to each other and figure out what's going on.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So number 3 is that along the Pacific coast of Canada and the Alaska coastline, the population of sockeye salmon is at a historic low. Many are blaming Fukushima, and certainly this woman, she's a professional biologist, has fundraised and done a study on the salmon in British Columbia, in the Fraser River and other rivers. And this is an area where a large orca population will summer. The resident orcas that live in a particular area, they come and migrate and spend the whole summer there, and they usually arrive with new baby orcas, so they're feeding them too. They live on salmon populations. The other orcas that are called transient populations, they live on marine sea mammals, and they travel in groups of 3 so that they're quiet and they can sneak up on the sea mammals, seals and stuff. And so they have different They have very different diets, and we're going to see the effects of the radiation and the difference in the diet in these populations over time. And I predict that the coastal salmon, the resident populations, are going to have a more severe impact because the salmon are going out in the Pacific. They're eating smaller fish. It bioconcentrates the radiation. And we just have to wait and see. But this woman who did the study and independently raised the money to have these salmon lab analyzed, they have very severe viruses, and that indicates immune system damage, as well as a slimy starfish goo. The starfish are just kind of melting along the North Pacific coast, and then the jellyfish also. So that really sounds like a viral infection or some kind of a bacterial viral slime on them.
But, the exposure to radiation will affect their immune systems or their capacity to cope with otherwise, threats to their environment they might normally be able to deal with, and therefore make them far more vulnerable to these kinds of diseases and related problems. Just